And here we are back again for another edition of Trey's Chow Down Live, and I'm here with Clayton and Tino. Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. And we're gonna get to them here in just a few minutes. Right now we're gonna do hot topics, and we're gonna talk about, first of all, we got the morning after brunch. I know y'all probably never been to that deal, but it's the largest brunch in North Texas. It's tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it's in Dallas in the farmers market.
That'd be cool.
3,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many different purveyors?
How many purveyors?
Yeah.
30, I think.
Wow. Okay.
30, but that's not including alcohol and everything else they do.
Okay.
Yeah, and Deep Ellum donated a lot of alcohol for the deal this year. So
very cool.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, they're a good. Do y'all have Deep Ellum there?
We do.
Okay, cool. So we got that tomorrow. I think VIP is sold out, but you can get in. We're going to be filming over there, filming a segment of Trey's Chat Down Live. So y'all get over there, and we'll see if we can get you in the segment. In national news, Boston Market has hired their third CEO in 7 months. Boston Market lost their identity. What happened to them?
I thought they declared bankruptcy
Twice.
20 years ago.
Twice.
They did years
20
back.
years
yeah, for
ago.
sure.
Twice.
I love that place.
And it's sad they tried to open too many stores and
Yeah. They just closed another 10%. So they just closed another 48 stores. They have their third CEO in 7 months. They just lost their identity. That's what happened.
Wow.
There's so many restaurants now that change their menus and use fresh products and keep up with the times. They just haven't kept up with it. I think they're going to try to get it squared away now, but I just
hope
don't know
they
if
do.
will.
it was a cool concept.
Oh, yeah, I always loved that place.
Yeah, remember when it first came out?
Oh,
It was awesome.
outstanding.
Amazing.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And Shaq joined the Papa John's team.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's got a percentage of the company now, and they've got a new flatbread sandwich that's the Shaq O'Neal sandwich, the Papa Diddy for lunch. they're getting in the lunch business. That's pretty cool. And something y'all going to talk about, which I know you probably know. I get all this stuff sent to me, and they got the 5 new hottest ice bars in the United States this year.
Ice bars.
Yeah, the ice bars.
They still try that?
Been to a couple of those.
They're hot now, I guess. They're coming back to make a push. But
Is one of those in Orlando?
yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So the 5 best hot spots for ice bars this year. The one in Vegas, which I've been to twice. You been to that one?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So let me get this because they've got them listed out
Was
here.
that one called Red Square? What's it called?
No, this one
in Vegas.
I don't know.
One in Vegas is just called the Ice Bar. The
Okay.
five below. The
Okay.
five below.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Shagmore at the Glacier Ice Bar, and that is somewhere in the Adirondacks. And then the Fire and Ice, that is in New York, and the Ice Bar in Orlando.
Huh.
And those are the 5 ones that are hot this year. God, how do they said they ship in 100,000 pounds.
I don't imagine the when you're talking about that, I'm just thinking, how expensive is that?
Exactly.
Well,
What's the overhead on
So
that?
I read up on it this week, and so when they first open it up, they have to ship 100,000 pounds of ice from Canada to start everything. So they put the coolers in, they ship 100,000 pounds of ice from Canada in trucks, and that's how they start the ice bar. And they have to keep the temperature to keep the ice going.
Well, essentially from there, think about it. I mean, you're getting a giant walk-in cooler, and your
Freezer.
electrical bill has got to be just
Giant walk-in freezer.
Yeah,
And
and that's
never-
what you're drinking out
Never
of.
shuts off.
Ever.
Ever.
You can't. No. Oh, kudos to them.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is I don't even know how to say. That's a new one in New York. I don't even know how to say that.
What do we got there?
Mehinata?
Mehinata.
I don't know, but that's a new one in New York.
Hadn't been there.
Open up this year. They'll do a lot of business in New York, though. They'll do a bunch of business there. All right, guys. Now we're going to get down to y'all.
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
So we got Tino DeFranco and Clayton. I'm not sure what your last name.
Grunewald is how you enunciate. Yep.
Grunewald.
Yep.
Okay. And you guys are in with
German.
German. Oh, it's German. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And you guys are in with Tino. It's called Funky Lime, right?
Funky Lime. That's
Funky
correct.
Lime.
Yep.
And y'all have got four places now, right? 3 concepts, 4 bars.
Correct.
Is that correct? How's the one in
Las Colinas.
Las Colinas doing?
Irving.
So essentially, just to kind of backtrack a little bit. So one of our concepts is called Reservoir,
Right.
and it's scratch kitchen, sports bar, kind of is our theme. So push food, push sports, have a great late night element. We do DJs as well. But it's something that we opened, kind of really starting our group together, really kind of putting us on the map. We had a couple of nightclubs prior, but kind of really gave us an identity with Reservoir.
Sure.
And we were able to expand this past year, second location at the Toyota Music Factory in Irving.
Yeah, how does that place do over there?
It's great.
Is it?
And opening that location, we have we've been given a different element than we've never really had before, and that is having a concert venue directly in front of us. So
it's a totally different crowd than what y'all have on 7th Street, isn't it?
absolutely. I mean, just take your nightlife, your day-to-day operations, and then throw an 8,000 square foot amphitheater in front of you with random concerts throughout the week. So you'll have a Tuesday night and you can't move. So it's been a very fun, interesting learning experience for us, but it's been great. So,
and how did y'all two met downtown Fort Worth, right?
That's correct.
And what were y'all doing when y'all met? Were y'all in the bar business when you met?
We were both running clubs in downtown Fort Worth.
Okay.
Mine was Bar 9. His was called Vice.
I liked them both. Both of them. Imagine that.
Both of them were basement bars, and one of the things we opened within a year of one another.
Yeah.
And we just always had like a good symbiotic relationship. So, and we knew of each other previously from different venues we had in Dallas. Right. And then when we both ended up in Fort Worth, there was it was like, hey, we're reliving old times, and then. If he ever had a night he wanted help promoting, I was the first one to call and vice versa. So, again, and then it was kind of a natural thing when they opened Reservoir to be like, hey, join the team. We always liked you and we're growing, so we need help growing. So.
That bar, that was the biggest bar on 7th Street when you first opened up, right?
I think it was. Was it
size wise, we were comparable with some of the biggest. There might have been one or two that was bigger. Like I believe Poorhouse was a little bigger, and that was around back then.
The new Poorhouse came from downtown and moved over there. Yeah,
I thought that move was not going to work.
A lot of people did, and the doubt we got as well is going back to what Tina was just talking about. All of us, including our other business partners, were just nightclubs at this time. Now, a lot of us in different eras of our life had restaurant experience,
right?
But at the time, we were more of the late night, drink mentality. So when we switched over to Reservoir, it was a transition. It was a fun one for all of us, but it was definitely a new.
Right. The Reservoir is really kind of a chef-driven concept too.
Very much.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's your food's good, and you have what's the chef that's there now?
Chad.
Okay.
Yeah, Burnett.
Yeah, Burnett. I know y'all changed it because I see new menu items come up all the time.
He was the original chef, right?
So the way that went down is he was helped us concept the menu at first, but he wasn't actually on retainer salary with us at the time.
Okay.
We went with another gentleman, a great friend of mine. We actually went to college with. His name was Jordan Rogers. And he was with us for a long time. And then about a year ago, Jordan had different opportunities to go in a different direction. He actually went and started working with TCU, which was cool.
Yeah.
But Chef Burnett came back and joined the team, actually being a part of it now. So we're kind of back to our roots.
So having 4 bar concepts, I know because Tina, you and I talk about concepts all the time. You look for new concept. How did Reservoir come about? Was it something that y'all saw somewhere else and kind of expanded on, or was it just a totally new ideal for y'all, or what'd you do?
So to answer that question, one thing that as long as we've all been in this industry is it's cyclical, okay? And you'll see it kind of. It has its ebbs and flows and ups and downs. So things that are hot in this generation might go down, but doesn't mean they're not going to come back. Okay. Right. So when we kind of became friends and we're really hanging out, so we were running the nightclubs, and this is about between the 04 to 2010 era, and nightclubs were very hot. Very hot, especially in the DFW market. Well, we could all agree and kind of see that at the time, at least, nightclubs were kind of going downhill. And we also kind of sat down and like, what's our next move? Well, when you honestly, truly think of sports, that's something that's timeless. It never ends, correct? So there's always some big championship game. There's always some big bowl game. So why not step into that market? Because in the nightclub industry, you're constantly promoting and trying to reinvent yourself and come up with something new. That gave us an opportunity to really focus on day-to-day and making sure that everything was good and perfect and able to conduct business on a day-to-day instead of what's our party we're throwing tonight, if that makes any sense at all.
Because some guys, y'all are business guys. I mean, the way y'all operate your operations are business guys. A lot of people in the bar business, they open up a bar and they want to party or do things they shouldn't do.
And we do sometimes.
And I do Duncan Birch. I do Duncan Birch back in the day. And Duncan Birch always said, there's things you just don't do in your club if you're going to make
absolutely
make money. And I watch y'all. And y'all. I mean, you have to get out and drink with people. That's just part of your business.
Absolutely.
Right, correct.
but it's an operation for y'all. And you said the club, the market goes like this. Restaurants are that way. If you don't make major changes on the restaurant every 3 to 5 years, then you'll lose your business. You've got to do menu changes. You got to refresh it. Yeah.
Well, one of the things about Reservoir that's pretty unique is he says it's sports driven, but it's not a traditional sports bar. You walk in it, you feel that immediately. The bar fare is not typical bar fare. The look of the place,
it's edible. It's good. It's delicious.
And honestly, as people come in and I tell them this is, hey, what's the best item on your menu? Not to sound biased, a lot of it. All of it. Yeah. I mean, just what are you in the mood for today? And anywhere from a lasagna to our famous Captain tenders.
Those are good.
Those are crack, and I mean that in a good way.
Jordan was mad. Jordan because I did that chicken special for ABC, and Jordan messaged me like a week later and said, "Hey, I didn't see those chicken tenders from Reservoir." I said, "Well, it was a restaurant. I didn't think about it because I was doing restaurants, but and actually, they're very good."
Yeah.
Jordan actually refined them, but what was the story behind those? Because wasn't it Emil when he was in? Emil was actually in Emil Bragdon's our partner.
Sure,
was in culinary school when he kind of did that, didn't he?
That's right. So when we were kind of concepting the menu, the original menu, that was something that we played around with, and as Tino alluded to, one of our business partners had some experience, and I'm a little hazy here. But if I remember correctly, he had an idea or had a previous recipe, and so we kind of took that idea and flipped it into what now is our Captain Tenders.
Yeah.
And it by far is our number one seller. It's crazy.
All the time. Doing it with chicken and waffles.
They're delicious, yeah.
Right.
And people get them, and they're like, I can't believe you're putting Captain Crunch on this, And,
But it's good.
It works. It works. It really works.
Right,
so, but, again, we have got a Renato pizza oven. But we're very, chef-driven. That's the shock we want to give you. So when you walk in the door, man, this is a bar and the game's on, but wow, I just had, shrimp tacos or scratch made lasagna or, smothered, Southwest chicken. You're like, this is a bar. You shouldn't get this kind of food.
Right. You got that window back there. You can watch into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the key features at
we
the
have
new spot.
Tex-Mex fairs to this day at both locations that come in, leave their restaurant, buy our elote, and take it back to their whole staff. I think that's great.
That's awesome.
That's real.
That's awesome.
Right.
So when Reservoir got popular, let's talk about Whiskey Garden. That was the next one, right?
Correct.
That's correct.
Yep.
So how did Whiskey Garden come about? How because that's one of my favorite concepts. So how did that come about as far as the design and the idea and everything?
How it originally came about was we were looking for to do another venue in the West 7th District, just because we were one of the first, popular spots there, and we're like, the growth of this area, obviously you can see 7 years later is huge. So
7 short years.
Seven short
years.
That
area,
we knew we needed to do something else, and one of the reasons they kind of brought me in and some other guys in is we knew we wanted to grow. So we wanted to do something along the lines of Reservoir, but nothing was going to remind you of Reservoir.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Well, we didn't know, but we started,
there was no plan. What is Whiskey Garden now?
Was not what it was.
That was not even close to what we originally.
That wasn't even going to be the name.
So for people who are listening and don't know about Whiskey Garden, which I think everybody should go at least once, even if they're not big drinkers. It's a. How do you describe it? It's got a swimming pool in the middle, a stage on top of the swimming pool, a shot bar on one end, and a regular bar on the other, but it's not really a regular bar on the other. I don't know how you describe it to people when somebody asks.
It's tough. What was it? The original description was it to know? It's like a vacation oasis in the middle of an urban area.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We did basically giving you a little bit of Vegas in Fort Worth.
When you decide to put a pool in, did you ever think to yourself what your insurance going to be?
Well, you know what?
I wish you would have said something. We would have been like, let's fill it with concrete. No, but the best part about Whiskey Garden is 5 years later, when I'm opening it up, inevitably someone walks by it, and it's not out front. It's kind of tucked behind in the lot, right? Someone to this day just comes by and is looking at it and is pointing at everything, and I'm like, you can come in, have a drink, eat something. And they're just like, no, they just want to look at it. I'm like, just come on in. That's what we're here for. Well, to this day, 5 years later.
The thing I like, and I told you this when I tell people all the time because I never could talk about it, the details. You know, like
Absolutely.
the gas nozzles in the bathrooms and it's the sinks and there's lots of details. But you've got to sit around and look at everything to get taking all the details.
I think all our places are like that. That's why I said if you look at Reservoir, especially the new one, because you get another chance to rebrand yourself. There's a lot of elements that are similar, like you said, that you can see through into the kitchen and everything else. But you'll walk around that place for days and pick out things like, I think, not to toot our own horn, not bragging, but I think it's kind of what separates us.
I would say it is what separates you.
Yeah. Even though we have probably some of the best staff, we probably offer some of the best product. The details in our places are pretty amazing.
And social media is on point too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And I tell everybody nowadays, it's just so important. It is so important. You got to be on top. You got to be better than the next guy. They're going to go to the next bar. I mean,
Absolutely.
And you got to get them in, and then you got to retain them.
100%. And going back to just before the show started, we briefly talked about you constantly have to be out and stay relevant.
That's right.
And know what's going on. A lot of times, like we will, one or two of us will jump in a car or take a short trip, and we'll hit 2 or 3 towns. In a 2 or 3 day period. And we try and go to a town that we've never been to. And we've done this several times. And you go in to as many restaurants and bars in those places as possible. And a lot of times you're not even eating or drinking. But, hey, what does it smell like in here? What are the napkins? What are they wearing? What is it? What's the food? What's the cuisine? What's the atmosphere? Why does it feel like that? And you try and catch things that maybe you've seen before, but maybe they're doing it in a different way. Or maybe they're... you have an idea and they're doing it in a different way, but it makes you think of something to perfect it.
Correct.
So it allows you to really kind of open your horizons. But not to be long-winded, but to go back to, that's how we all kind of put our little pieces from our travels and our past in all these concepts. So like Whiskey Garden, when we first designed it, Tino had his ideas. I had my ideas. Emil, Jay, and we kind of threw them on the wall, and some of it stuck and some of it didn't. And we even got to a point where it's like, okay, you and Tino, you get the restroom hallway. Clay and Tino, y'all do shot 30. Emil, you're going to do the inside of whiskey. Jay, you're going to do behind the bar, and that's...
And there was freedom in that, too.
Yeah.
It turned out good. Sometimes creative minds and all came together. My granddad used to say, business ideas are kind of like throwing mud on the wall. You throw mud on the wall, some of it sticks, and the rest of it slides right down.
Oh,
That's what he used to say,
Smart man.
Well, if I would, like you said, how'd you come up with the name? We had a name... Shot 30, which is our shot bar.
I was just fixing to ask you. Okay.
And then and Whiskey Garden, but that wasn't what we were building. We were going to name it something else, and we went through. And I could show you a list on my phone, but I won't. There's probably 100 names in there. You know what I mean?
But Whiskey Garden is just a fantastic name, though. I love that. I still love that name today.
We couldn't get away from it.
Yeah,
we just couldn't.
Kept going back, circling back around, circling the wagon,
circling back around, and that's what was just. Was this our intention? No, it wasn't our intention, but it was. And you remember when we were in San Diego and this bar had this? We need to add that.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So where'd that pool idea come from? Because back in the '80s over there, and I don't know what but West Side Stories had a big old pool in there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So where'd the pool come from?
So again, the cyclical idea.
Right.
We saw at the time. We saw a niche of
day clubs.
Right. Okay, and this was you're seeing more and more of these pop up in Dallas, and they were
day
working.
Drinking.
Not just day drinking, but kind of tying into
they
brunch.
Were huge in Vegas.
Kind of tying into, and it was starting to hit in Dallas. So you're looking at an element where I'm not competing with my 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. people like
Different
most people
crowd.
Friday, Saturday night. I'm competing with Saturday. Who has that? Not really anybody.
Right.
So that was the thinking there. And then originally we actually were going to, there was no pool. Then the pool was actually going to be on the roof. Then I'm dead serious.
It was going to be.
We got it. We got an estimate on the cost of not just the pool, but just the structure from the structural engineer. Yes, and it was just astronomical. We're like, okay, no pool. And we got rid of the pool. Then we decided on the pool, and then we decided on what now. We actually have a tractor trailer on site that sits.
That's the stage.
We sit it parallel with our pool.
But I like the atmosphere it bleeds off. It's just part of the concept. Yeah.
Well, even originally,
you know how many people don't notice that's a
I don't know why. I know it's the first time. That's
flatbed trailer.
It's details. They don't notice details, man.
Yeah.
That's a 45-foot trailer we found in a field in Saginaw. Had it cut, reshaped, and craned in. People don't.
I always thought you put it in before you built it.
No, and it was too big too, so we had to get it modified, like he was alluding to.
Okay.
But then what was even funnier is that was mapped out, and then one day I was sitting back looking at it, and I called the guys up. I'm like, why don't we back the pool up like 3 feet, into the trailer, and then we can build a swim up bar. That's
We
never
thought
been
that
done
was the
before.
greatest idea ever.
And
We
then-
thought it was we're going to hit a home run.
Yeah.
Nope.
Never. And that's part of this business is there's a lot of stuff that even the four of us were like, man, that's going to kill it. And it just didn't. I mean, you got to learn to adapt.
Well, the thing about I like about the pool, I will never get in that pool. I'm not going. I just won't do it.
I don't know why.
Because I'm not going to.
I
I
got
can't,
you,
I
I got
can't
you,
go out
I
and
got
walk
you.
around, get wet, and go walk around. But
True.
But I
Yeah.
like the atmosphere the pool brings. I
Yeah.
like the way it splits up the bars.
Summer.
Have you ever watched?
Summer.
There ain't a lot of people in it. There's a lot of
There's
people,
a lot of people around it, though, boy.
A lot of people
Feet in
around
it, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
There's people in it.
Yeah, after I've had a few toddies, maybe.
Right. They'll get in it. But most people like to just sit around it, lounge around it. And, that's why we have the little cabanas for you to kind of sit around.
Yeah.
They just enjoy being around it.
It's you know what it reminds me of. If you sit in a cabana, look at it's kind of like a Vegas atmosphere.
Absolutely. And that's what it was. A little bit of that was the idea. You know,
Right.
a little bit of Vegas.
Our whole idea when we're ever doing a new concept, again, we don't want to copy Reservoir. So how can we be different?
Yeah. We don't want to beat ourselves.
We don't want to beat ourselves. So every time
Or compete against yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's why you look at our concepts, they're so far, there's so much of a stretch away from the other ones. Even though there's a lot of cool things, like the cool things and the cool elements are probably similar, and you probably see some of our staff transitions, the idea itself should be on the opposite side of the planet from the original one.
Right.
So you had something a while ago, which I didn't think of till you said it. I think about, but not the perspective that you put it in. You talked about having day business versus night business, and it's a totally different market.
Absolutely.
And if you can get one of each, then you just open up to a lot more sales.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Here's our goal. Like we were talking about, before we got going, there's sometimes I started with the Papa's company in Houston when I started college.
The good company,
Great company.
yeah, wealthy company.
Sure are. Well, when if you ever got to the level where you're a kitchen manager, you opened at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Right. And then they weren't open till 2, but they still went from 5:30 a.m. till midnight, and you probably got out of there at 2:30 a.m. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So in an ideal world, how do you make money all the time? Right? Because you're paying rent and everything, you're
And
paying
people
all
there.
over.
If you're
Yeah.
open,
Right.
why not try and make money?
Right.
All
You
the
know?
time. That's our goal is to make money all the time.
Yeah.
You have to.
Well, you have to. You can stay in business.
Right.
Well, the crazy,
Taxes and rent and notes don't pay themselves.
They sure don't.
yeah.
So whiskey art. So what is he still selling tacos of whiskey?
He sure is. Tuck.
So
Tuck.
You'll love this. This is great. This is leading us down another path I think is great.
So I'm going to try and sum this up quickly. So basically, Whiskey Garden originally, going back to not trying to be the same. You
Right.
want to use ideas that work, but you don't want to be the same. We didn't want to build Reservoir again. We actually put a full functioning kitchen in a Whiskey Garden.
That's what's around back in the side, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And originally, like looking at it now, if we could change, like when you walk in, it's not designed to be a restaurant. Never was designed to be a
Right,
restaurant.
right.
And when you look at it, it doesn't feel like a restaurant.
Right.
So originally, we had a full-on menu and everything, and we had great food, and those of it that ate loved the food, but we just didn't sell a lot of it. So it just didn't make sense to have this full functioning kitchen, because the way people thought was, I'm not going to get a full barbecue meal and then go stew around in your water for a little while, right? You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So it kind of happened organically, and it was great how it went down. We had a local purveyor that had a food truck in front of us called Tail Feathers. Great product,
Yeah,
great
I remember
food.
that truck.
Yeah.
Chicken wings.
That's
if you
right.
can get him to make them,
They're killer.
They're by far some of the best you've ever had.
Well, the city had some discrepancies at the time, and it's changed since, and I don't know the ins and outs. That's a different conversation. They got rid of all the food trucks in the area, like completely got rid of them. Well, at that time, we saw a gentleman who we befriended. His name's Richard Tucker,
Right.
with Tail Feathers. He no longer had a place to stay. Our kitchen was not making any money. Hey, Tuck, let's team up. Okay, you can have our kitchen. We'll work out a deal, which we did. So he runs his business out of our kitchen. We no longer have to worry about food, but we do have the food element, which is great.
Yeah, it really is.
And he's making brisket on site, making brisket tacos, and his wings.
His tacos are the bomb.
They're
man.
amazing.
It's the simplest thing.
Sometimes I'll eat 10 of them.
Yes. and they're amazing. The
Yeah,
guy
they
is
are.
talented. So it worked out like there was, again, not the plan, but it worked out, and it's better because of it. So
Yeah.
It really is. And it's like I said, when we get into the next concept, I'll show you the road or path we're investigating. We don't know how it will go, but so far that kind of organic relationship worked out good for us.
They did, didn't it?
Yeah.
For sure.
So he's still there. So he still does it.
Absolutely.
Is he there every night?
Every night.
Every night. The only night of the week we're closed at that location is Tuesdays, but we have special events on Tuesdays as well. So
And he always does our events.
Now you have something that's really popular there, which I went to 4 or 5 times, and now I'm just so busy I can't go all the time. But turtle races.
yeah,
Correct.
Let's talk about that because that's really that was okay. So when someone first told me about this, I was like, man, what are these guys? Because I didn't see anything. This is when it first started. Someone told me about it. I just heard about it on the street. Right, I'm like, the hell are they talking about turtle races? So it was like a month before I started watching course and went over there. And it was pretty. Then next time I went back, y'all were packed.
Yeah,
I mean packed.
Well, let me give you, to go back to that conversation we had about you want to make money all the time. Well,
Right.
one of the things at every bar and restaurant, everyone, you have those days that are just slow. Sometimes, like Whiskey Garden's closed on Tuesdays, we couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
So one of the things we try to focus on in all our concept is
Every one of them.
Every one of them. We call it an off night. So
That's what it is, yeah.
Right. What's an off night? As turtle races are on Monday night. I mean, how many people have a Monday night that's popular?
Everybody has your Friday and Saturday.
Everybody has your
Restaurant
Friday and
business, you have your
Saturday,
Friday
right.
and Saturday. So your
Right.
off night is outside of Friday and Saturday.
It's outside of the box. So going back to when I was talking about when we had the clubs in Dallas, he had an off night. He goes, Tino, can you get your people and your staff to come support it? And of course, and I did the same thing. And then his people and his staff would come support it. And we're like, oh, that's a good thing. So anytime we go into a new concept, the first conversation, oh, Clayton, don't do it, buddy.
First conversation.
The first conversation is, what night are we going to focus on? Because once we choose it,
Yeah.
we're relentless on it. You talk about social media.
Yeah.
If we choose it, we don't change it.
Right.
We're not giving up on it.
Well, you can't. You got to beat it with. You got to beat it. Yeah.
And we do.
Yeah.
So Reservoir, Sunday nights, great. They've been amazing. We decided, let's do Monday nights.
Every Sunday, by the way.
Every Sunday. Yeah.
Now, the turtle races are a little different. They're every other Monday.
Yeah.
Because we were closed on Mondays for
Right.
over a year. So we're like, let's do something with this night.
Right.
And then, so we took that concept, which wasn't an original concept. Another bar had done it.
I don't think the way y'all did it though.
Well, no.
What y'all done.
We've taken it.
You refined it.
Yeah, we put nitrous in it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's the best way to put
You know
it.
what I mean?
yeah.
So again, but I don't want to say that was our original concept. But what it is now has become a whole different animal. So that's where it goes. How do we make Monday nights? How do we get another big night to make our money for the week? And the place is just sitting there.
Now,
you know what I mean?
Now, y'all not recently, time moves so fast now at my age, but y'all got a truck and cut the roof off at a stage or something out to drive over there. Right.
So again, going back to and sorry to bring this up, but when you're designing a bar, a lot of people think there's rules and there's
No.
a realm.
Yeah.
And one thing that we have fun with and we've learned in all our concepts, there is 0 rules.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to put a helicopter on the roof, you put a helicopter on the roof. Okay. If you want to, have, snakes swimming in your pool, not like we would ever do that, but
Right.
you put snakes in the pool.
Right.
Like there's no
Right.
limits.
Right.
So that being said, when we started expanding these turtle races, it went from, 50, 100 people are there. Now 200 people are here,
Yeah.
300. Well, let's keep that nitrous, as Tino alluded to, put the pedal down and
Yeah.
let's keep going. So we started getting custom mats made, and we started, one of our other guys came up with, like you said, the flatbed. It was another flatbed truck that we bought, and we cut the roof off. And
I saw y'all driving.
bottle service.
we had to
seating.
move it. We had to move it out to the parking lot because we just didn't have enough room.
Yeah. Well, I saw one of y'all driving it down the street one day
Yeah.
with no roof on. I was like,
Yeah.
what? I
You
was
have to
wondering,
wear
I
a
saw it go
helmet.
past me real fast.
Emil drives it with a motorcycle helmet because it didn't even have a windshield.
So you're going to drive it with a helmet.
Yeah, you're going to take a few bugs.
Otherwise, you're eating your lunch. Your bugs. Yeah.
Have you ever been stopped by the cops?
No, we haven't. But
Fortunately, I don't know how.
where we originally stored it was Azle. We found it.
That's why I saw y'all. Okay.
Right. So you're driving it all the way from Azle.
Looking
Well,
like
I
Speed
wouldn't-
Racer with the helmet on.
I
you
wouldn't
know?
drive it, but Emil will drive anything. So it's like, Emil, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
Now you stored across the street, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so you did that.
Yeah. So now we've got, all of a sudden it's a Monday night and you show up and the whole parking lot's
it's like a
fenced
Saturday
off.
night though.
It is.
Even possibly
better.
bigger because
Probably bigger.
you show up to this thing on a Monday night and you've got people just hoarded around.
Yeah.
In a parking lot area, the bar's packed.
Yeah.
You're seeing turtles in cages. You're seeing a flatbed trailer. What the heck is going on? And it's Monday night, and it's slammed.
I know, but if you drive down those streets, if you make those streets, it's like someone dropped a bomb, except if you go to Whiskey Garden on Monday night.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
There's no one
that's
around.
right. There's
They
it
can't
is a
compete
ghost
with you.
town. It's
Yeah.
crickets.
Right.
But once again, don't worry about Tuesday night. Don't worry about Wednesday. As far as that location, worry about your Monday night.
Yeah.
So, and again, at Reservoir, Sunday night. Don't worry about Monday night. Don't worry about Tuesday night. So
And we put all our energy. So say we have 4 concepts support that off night.
Yeah.
And you want to say required? You are required to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen everybody there.
Yeah.
You know,
One time
just
or
how
another,
you have a meeting, you go, hey, this is a meeting, you're required to go. We require you to come have fun.
Yeah.
And we do.
Well, you have fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
We do.
I see a lot. I've seen and a lot of service industry people come there too, which is cool
Absolutely.
because there's not much going on, I guess, on Monday night.
absolutely.
And they're
we're
off.
very service industry
Yeah.
friendly. We
Yeah.
support,
Well,
we
that's
push.
most
It's
of
what
our
we do.
that's most of our nights off.
Yeah.
And that's also the push. We're very, I think, a huge part of our culture is that the service industry always supports us.
Right.
So that's why we choose those off nights. Because when you have the service industry people in there, of course they have all their regulars and they want to hang out with their regular. Or the regulars, I would say the regulars want to hang out with them. That's just the best time for it. And it's just it's a great recipe.
Well, one thing about all your concepts, and I've watched y'all from the first one now to the 4th one, and y'all are very customer service driven.
We try.
You are. You mean you care about the customer. You care about their experience. You care
Right.
about how they feel when they leave before they get there. Are they thinking about which concept that we want to get you to one of them, or all of them? I mean, y'all are very good about that.
Well, if you have one negative or one semi not positive comment, you would not believe how much we beat down on that.
Oh yeah.
That just, we send it to each other. Most of us will see it all at the same time. And then that is addressed over and over and over and over. And how do you avoid it in the future?
Well, and you just said it's such an important thing, and we know that, and we've realized that, to where, on a customer base, all your regulars, in my opinion, become your friends. Okay,
Yeah.
they
Sure.
do. You're at that place of work. That's what you do most
Yeah.
of your time, right? So if you're going to spend your time there, you might as well love it and be a part of whatever that is. So in this restaurant culture, whatever location you're at, if Chuck comes in all the time, Chuck's helping you pay the light bill.
Yeah.
Give Chuck a hug.
Yeah.
Tell Chuck happy birthday.
Yeah, I mean,
tell
yeah.
Chuck, hey, see if he likes his favorite dish. Those are people you need to befriend, and we've learned to adapt and do that. Like our customers are people.
I know there's no way to figure this out unless you had paid somebody to do it, but your retainage percentage for your concepts has got to be high, because I see a lot of people that used to go there, they keep going back, return visits.
Exactly. And it's probably the biggest part of the success of any time we open a new concept. We have the luxury of leaning on our own businesses to go, hey, we're having a grand opening in our new concepts, and those are insane. And we don't do any advertising other than, like you said, we're all over social media.
Yeah, well, that's advertising. And I think in the restaurant and bar business, social media is the number one.
Absolutely.
By far.
Absolutely.
And it does, because we've established in this market, it does help, like he just said, not having to advertise is heavy because you've built a presence. Now, if we open in Nashville, here we come. If we open in Nashville, for example, we are going to have to put more time into hitting
Absolutely.
the streets
Sure, yeah.
and knocking on every door and shaking hands
Right.
and kissing babies.
That Whiskey Garden would work in Nashville. There's nothing like that there.
I think all 3 of them were.
Yeah,
All 3 of them were in there.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about your mama's house, because I know it's
Your mom's house.
your mom's house.
Your mom's house.
I don't know why I keep saying your mom's house. I said
Because
that.
a lot of people do. A lot of people
it
do.
sounds so natural, just like your mama's house.
Yeah.
But your mom's house.
Okay, so I love this concept. I sat and talked about an hour on
Yeah.
that. I mean, so let's talk about this concept from start to finish. So how you tell me, but I want you to tell her because it comes from you better. Tell us how you came up with your mom's house.
Right.
Yeah.
So the original idea came about going back to what we discussed. Every now and then, partners will all, at this particular time, me and Emil had decided to go to Austin. Right, our neighbor up the street, and do hit as many restaurant bars as we
Which is a
possibly
good
can.
thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we were down off of Rainey Street in Austin. If anybody hadn't been there, if you're not familiar with it, basically once upon a time somebody it was a lady, I believe, took an entire street, and they're all kind of 2-bedroom, 1-bath, give or take homes.
It was designated as a historical district.
Okay.
So you couldn't do anything with it.
Okay, it was a store district, but they're smaller homes. They're 2-bedroom, 1-bath,
Yeah.
2-bedroom, 2-bath
Like homes used to be. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So not very big homes. Well, what she did and got approval by the city was allowed it to the whole street to basically take these homes. Now you can't do much to the exterior, and this was originally anytime I could be messing this up. Originally, and take these homes and make them into bars. So you had this whole street of what looked like homes, but they were all bars, and they all had their own different theme. Well, as we first saw this, we thought it was amazing, the idea. And it's like, man, you're walking into your mom's house. That's what it feels like, all these concepts. So that's how originally the name and the idea came out. And that was like 5 years ago.
Right.
So that's always been in our back pocket. The wheelhouse is been there, but we just had to find the right location, timing. A lot of it's timing. You know, there's 3 or 4 concepts we're ready to open, but it has to be right.
You had to refine it. I bet you thought about it all the time.
Oh
yeah.
So this particular last year, I would think we'd all agree that wasn't the plan.
No.
Like we weren't. If you would have asked us at the beginning of the year that we were going to open up that concept, that location at that time, none of us would have.
Wasn't on our radar.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
Well, I'll tell you what wasn't on anybody's radar. That bar that was there before, that thing was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names, man.
I'm not going to name names either, but it was rough. It was grand opening, grand closing.
Honestly, and everyone has said it, and you probably agree, Trey. They should have just opened it in the stockyards.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
No,
I don't know.
That would have been perfect for them. But you know, again, that's a different conversation. It made sure. Whatever.
Was that a corporate store?
Yes. Oh, big time.
So they just took a huge loss one on.
Okay. If I had to guess, you know, I'm a bit of a real estate nerd.
Yeah.
And when you're looking on paper, because in Texas, alcohol sales are public records. You
Right.
can look that up. I guarantee you somebody got a hold of those records and was looking at it, because the seventh area, you know, cranks numbers, and they're
Right.
like, wow, we want to get involved in that.
Right.
Unfortunately, the area is so
It's finicky.
on nitrous, as Tino said, that you better be at the top of your game. Your old school Boston market, all due
Right.
respect to them you
Right.
brought up,
Right.
you better reinvent yourself if you want to get in the seventh area, because
Right.
it's the
can't
latest,
just open- you
greatest.
can't just open the door. Yeah.
Nope. You're competing with the big boys. So.
But again, you know, the whole concept of your mom's house, even though the property became available, we were still, just like Whiskey Garden, okay, what do we want to do here?
Yeah, they got the real estate.
Right. And the real
Tino
estate was
actually
great.
precluded
It was a
it
great
first.
idea. It was a great
Yeah.
opportunity for us. Because again, these are big corporate guys, and they just walked away.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they left a pretty well built out place
Sure.
and walked
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
When I say walked away, I mean
Yeah.
the beer
Walked away.
The trash filled with beer bottles were still sitting.
Yeah.
Everything was there.
Well, when you first told me about it, I thought, man, it's going to be. When you first, I think I was seeing you one night at Whiskey Garden. I think we were talking about it, and you told, I was like, man, it's going to be a cool concept. But I had nothing like that. It's even cooler than I thought.
Well, you couldn't have imagined it. No. I would be honest with you. We couldn't have imagined it. It grew organically. So we're like, oh, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. We always wanted to do this, but we ran out of time at Whiskey Garden. Let's do this. So that's how it all comes
And
back.
those are my two favorite Whiskey Garden. I think because they grew like that.
Yeah,
So,
Right.
yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk back for people who listen and don't know what it's a big bar, but it's got a living room, kitchen area.
So essentially, okay, we procured the real estate. We decided, you know, one day we didn't know a concept what we're going to do. We finally all sat down and we talked about your mom's house, and, you know, pulled out of the back pocket. And so, okay, what do we do? What do we do to make it interesting? So we knew right out of the gate, the obvious, no matter what you have to do, it has to look like a house on the exterior. That's
Right.
number one. If we do anything, it has to. That's the
why you
salesmanship.
put the
That's the
false front.
sign.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the sign itself is, why is there a house in the middle of a
7th Street.
Yeah.
A yellow one.
yeah. Canary yellow,
Canary
you know, white picket fence.
Your mom's house.
Yeah, what the heck? Well, the whole theme, you know, before we discuss anything, is exactly what you think. House parties. What did you do, you know, when you snuck out in high school or
Right.
maybe early in college? Like that type of atmosphere. Remember, if you've ever had a beverage, you've done that once or twice. You've been to a house party or whatever. So think like that. What did you see there? What did you sit on? Mom's pictures got knocked off the wall. Those kinds of things. So when we started laying it out, and there was no plan at that time on how to lay it out, we decided, okay, well, let's do some rooms. Now, they don't have necessarily demising walls to
don't.
separate them,
Yeah.
but you can tell, you know, between the different
Very
ceilings,
definitely.
different tiles, different flooring, whatever, there's different rooms. So we have a living room, a library,
Right.
a kitchen,
Right.
and a garage.
And a laundry room. There's laundry machines
Yeah,
back
there's
there.
laundry room,
technically,
yeah.
there's also
laundry
kind of a
room,
laundry garage, laundry room. Yeah,
We have
yeah.
we have a theater room and a bedroom.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I first went in there the first time, it was real busy. I had to look, but the second time I went in there, it was not. But, you know, I could sit and look at the details of everything. It was really, really cool.
Once again, it's even more so than whiskey, because when you're walking down the street, It's just industrial building, big yellow house. So, I mean, people just are walking in and they just are walking around. They start walking around, looking at everything, and I'm like, we sell stuff. And they still just walking around. This is so great. I'm like, you want anything?
Also too, that big facade of that house. You're kind of off. 7th Street's kind of like a racetrack.
We're a little bit off the beaten path.
A little bit off on that one, but you can sure see the house.
It's like a bug light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We knew we were off the beaten path a little bit, and that's kind of what led to that concept as well. Because we were thinking, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and we got to do something that grabs people.
Whose ideas were taking the old TVs and putting the new TVs behind them? Who's the
That's something we've talked about forever.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Honestly, that idea. I want to say Tino will claim it. I want to say I'll claim it. I want to say Emil will claim it. We've talked about that for a long time.
Yeah.
So, in all fairness, I don't know. But we've talked about it for a very long time.
Okay.
Like I said, that one element was for sure.
Sometimes like he said, when we go somewhere and one idea, instead of being like, oh, let's do that idea, it actually leads us thinking like, oh, if we did this, like we were like, oh man, what if we did the old TV and it has a fish tank in it or something?
Yeah.
You remember it? One of the ones was if you're as old as me, you had the old Zenith TV that was broken, and the newer TV was sitting on top of it.
Absolutely.
So it kind of led down that path. So we have a big 80-inch flat screen, and the guy that did it is the most amazing carpenter. He created the old Zenith and RCA cases around that screen.
Yeah, it's neat.
And he actually took like an old, I want to say it was an entertainment center or an old bed set, and he used the parts from it to make the frame. So you're looking at it, it's like a bedpost, but it doesn't look like a bedpost, and it looks like the artwork of a Zenith TV. And we put bunny ears.
It's got the bunny ears on it. Yeah.
So let's talk about the other elephant in the room, the big pink Lincoln y'all built.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That first time of course you can't help but miss it. If there's people there, you can't see it, but when there's not anybody, it's just amazing.
Right.
That's the garage part.
It's a garage part, and originally we were going to do a pink Cadillac. Was their original idea, I think. Was it?
Yes.
And then Emil's favorite car is this 64, 65 Lincoln.
Yeah.
And we happened to come across one again in a field in Dallas this time.
Hunk of junk, suicide doors.
We knew we wanted this.
Man.
We knew we wanted this. Obviously, some lady drove this at some point. Now it evolved into it's our photo booth,
which every place has a photo booth now, right?
So
how do you take that to the next level?
It is the most popular part of that whole place.
People.
I can't keep people out of it.
No way. I'm surprised you don't have to have a security guy there to control what goes on.
On the weekends, you try.
Yeah,
you give it your best shot.
I mean, it was really cool. So, was it the original idea to put the camera in there for selfies, or is that something that came along after?
That came after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah,
we knew we wanted the pink car.
So the thinking is in any concept, you can have a great concept, but what are the wow points? Right, so when you walk in the whiskey garden, the pool, you talk about, okay, that's a wow point.
Yeah.
The trailer, that's a wow point. So when we're opening this, like, we got the idea, we know the exterior is going to happen, we know what's going to look like. What are wow points in the house? Oh my gosh, holy beep, there's a car, in the middle of the car. Okay, that's a wow factor.
Yeah.
And then to zhuzh it up, put the camera in there.
Right.
Everybody does the cameras now. Well, we have a car. No one does that.
Yeah.
And that's, kind of how it led to more.
Right, yeah. And then, again, we wanted, how do we do a kitchen? Where do we put a kitchen? So that became our main bar. And then, that evolved into, what if we put this in? And then we have a microwave. Let's make sure the microwave looks like it's lit up. And then, there's little things in there that people my age would remember, but there's a gremlin in there cooking.
Oh, yeah. And so the library, this is really cool, too. The library, you have to open the bookcase.
Our speakeasy is the toilets.
Right.
Yeah. But once you get past the library, you go in there and it looks like an old house hall. Somebody's old hallway. Because remember how y'all did it? They used to stack 100 pictures in the hallway.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
Yeah. So y'all have 100 different pictures in different frames and everything. How'd you do all that?
The best part about it is it's actually family. So
is it really?
Well, it's our industry family.
Okay, cool.
So it's pretty much all the staff and all our regulars, and we just asked them for their pictures when they were young.
Yeah, so to explain a
They're
little,
not random pictures. They're people we all know.
to explain to people that don't understand, so basically we recreated that terrible hallway in everybody's house with
That paneling. Remember that
the
paneling?
awful brown, orange paneling,
Yeah.
and then we actually took baby pictures for our entire staff and regulars and anybody that wants their baby picture.
Right.
And if you come by, you're more than welcome to. If you bring a baby picture, we'll try our best to frame it and put it up. That's the idea.
Right.
There's just hundreds of just random baby photos.
Where
So
there's probably 100 and something photos up. Well, I mean, we spent, our other manager who works with us spent hours doing it. Now we're like, all right, don't send me a photo. Bring me a framed photo.
yeah, exactly.
We'll
yeah.
put it up. We don't
Or
have
don't
time.
email me a picture. Like
Don't
print
email
it
me a
out.
picture.
Yeah, like. Yeah.
Well, when I first walked in, I saw that paneling. It just sent me back, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That paneling was the bomb. That was the catalyst.
When I sent that paneling came from a photo when I was a kid. And when my contractor pulled up in the truck, he goes, "You'll never believe what I found." He goes, one of the old independent lumber companies just had a stack of it that had been sitting in their yard forever. And he goes, "I want all that." Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Some of the stuff when you go to look for, it's a lot easier to get than you think.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'm sure, and sometimes maybe too. It's you don't think you're going to find it. Like you said, it's
Yeah.
easy to get.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But so what has been? I'm going to ask you some points here. What's your favorite thing about Reservoir Bar? Your favorite thing? Do you two may have different ideas? But
I'll let him
Clayton,
go.
what's your favorite thing?
Gosh, about Reservoir. I'll go back to, honestly, I truly feel this, and this is completely my opinion, but just the fact that we were one of the first over there on 7th Street, and today I feel like we're very much a Cheers bar and the Cheers feel. And when I mean, granted, I've worked there since day one. It's my
Right.
baby. I go in there, I know everybody, and I love that. And I mean that as far as like a home. And that's something you can't buy. That's something you can't build. That's something you can't make.
Yeah.
Reservoir is just tons of years of people that have been showing up in there and screaming at the TVs and eating great food. So my favorite thing is that. It's
Personal gratification of what
Yeah.
you've accomplished. Yeah.
well, just talking to everybody and seeing everybody and seeing them
Like a
return.
family.
Yeah.
Like a bar family.
Like a bar
That's right.
Tino, what's yours?
Norm, the patio in the front bar.
Yeah.
I love that we tried to recreate it at Whiskey a little bit. I love that you can either sit inside or outside, but you're all still interacting.
I was just fixing to say one of my things that I like about new restaurant concepts is when they can make the outside come in, the inside go outside.
Right.
Like when they open the doors up over at the place on the corner there on 7th and Crockett Road. That he's been there for a long time. The brunch spot or lunch spot. He's got those big glass doors he slides in, and you can have inside and outside. And
love
that's
that.
the same thing at Reservoir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
love
Whiskey
that.
Garden.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So what's your favorite thing about Whiskey Garden? Like if someone asks you, what's the favorite thing?
Shot bar.
Oh yeah,
You can't beat it.
yeah.
You really can't.
You know what's funny about Shot 30 is that was an afterthought. Like Whiskey
Yeah.
was designed, pool was there, and the landlord
Shot 30.
came to us in the 8th hour, or whatever the saying is, and went, "Hey, we've got some extra real estate. Do you want it? And we'll give it to you for pennies on the dollar." So we went, "Man, we can't
Can't pass
pass
that
this
up.
up."
That was going to be my next question. I was just fixing to lead into that because I don't remember ever hearing about Shot 30 until I actually got there. So I didn't.
The idea was, and if you see the wall, it's an air hanger wall because Emil's a pilot. It's where we
Right.
got the air hanger door idea from. That was going to be an overflow bar. So if Whiskey and the pool were so busy, we open that big air hanger door and you're like, oh my goodness, here's another bar.
Well, they're all busy.
Well, it's actually the most popular
Yeah.
bar, so it's open all the time.
And
Yeah.
that was again, as much as we think we know what we're doing, every day you're learning, right?
Right.
Right.
Well, not only was it an afterthought, we threw that together. Like basically, everybody went, Tino and Clay, y'all figure it out.
Yeah,
So-
just do some shots.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, and so we got together, and when I feel like we designed a pretty cool room.
That's a great
But
room.
we even then, threw together the menu last second and everything. And I hate admitting that, especially when we're talking out loud, but this is the truth.
Yeah.
And we were really fearful that
To a
it was
lot of
going to be a
people now.
bust. Yeah, well, I thought the Shot 30 side was going to be a bust. And
Right.
I would like to think there too. And man, slammed. I mean, that's the busiest bar.
How'd you
hands out.
get the name?
Was it the Houston place, maybe? Or
See,
no?
that I don't remember how we got the name. I just remember we were going off a concept that I worked at in college, and we were kind of playing off of it. I don't
I
remember. how
thought
we
y'all were
came
going
to-
to tell me y'all did 30 shots one night or something.
Well, unfortunately, nothing to brag
Yeah.
about. That's probably been done.
Yes.
Let's go with that. That's how.
Let's go with that. We'll go with that.
you know,
That's fair
everything
enough.
always sells better with a good story.
Yeah,
It does.
Whether it's
absolutely.
food or drinks, it always sells better with a good
But
story.
the fun thing about that one too is, and another thought process is that, okay, you have your craft martini bars, you have your craft beer. It's a
Right.
big thing.
Right, huge.
So let's have fun. Let's do craft shots. No one does that. So when that's why we came up with that goofy menu
Yeah.
with
Right.
flaming marshmallows that
Yeah.
you're dunking in your drink, or, eating, we have one that's, a dickle pickle, or the actual pickle is your shot
Yeah.
glass. Like stuff like that. It's different. It's fun, and
Do we discuss what it morphed into?
yeah.
Well, all our games are at shot 30.
Right.
So you got your golden tee, and we don't have it anymore, but your beer pong game and your basketball
Right.
game. So what do most people do when they play games? You bet.
Yeah.
All right. So when you bet,
That's shots.
Well, the bets became, oh man, what's a shot you would bet on? And we had one. I won't say the name, but basically it was tequila with habanero pepper in it. Right.
Oh, wow.
Well, now it has. What does it have? It has like a pepper in it called devil's blood.
Yeah.
This is not a pleasant thing to drink.
So it's like, oh, you lost.
So you lost. You're drinking that. So our shot board is morphed into more of those than the marshmallow.
The good ones that are
it's-
delicious. It's more
it's
like,
the-
how can I pick on you?
Oh yes, it's like, oh man, I'm never doing that again. But we sell more of the ones you'll never do again, just because people sit there and bet.
Hey, it's Trey's bachelor party. Let's get him this worst, terrible shot we can
Right.
think of.
So it's got a devil's pepper in it?
It does.
That's crazy.
It's almost. I can't drink it. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
no, yeah. I wouldn't be able to because my stomach had to tear it up. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. That's funny, though, isn't it?
Well, that devil's blood came from our winging contest. We were like, let's add this to
Yeah.
the bet you can't tequila.
It's brutal. But again, the idea behind it is
Grab
messing-
those real quick.
All right.
Because I just want to hang on. I just want to say
Yeah,
something quick.
yeah.
So at your mama's house, you got some cool food, but I didn't notice. But you brought in a paper bag. That's nice. That's
nice.
That's a great sandwich.
It is.
Now this is what you serve me, but they come in a paper bag,
Come in a paper bag,
Yeah.
brown paper bag with a bag of chips.
right?
You just open up the bag on the bar.
Like what you said, like your mom would send
That's
you to
what
school
your
with.
mom
or-
That's
Take it
right.
to
You're
school.
getting your lunch to
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
right.
But the sandwiches are not like your mom's sandwich.
They sure
No.
are.
No, is Hollister still making?
David Hollister, he's one of our probably our favorite chefs.
Yeah, he's awesome.
We've been trying to collaborate with him for years.
Dude, that guy is so creative.
He's outstanding.
He's incredible. But the sandwich just looks so. I mean, it's all, and I know with him they're always fresh. They just look
They're
good.
great. And there's 3 versions.
The
'Cause
muffaladas
It's a
is what they
traditional
are.
muffalata, and there's a traditional one, and then that's called your mom's muffalata, and then we have your aunt's muffalata, and that's a non-traditional, and we have your sister's muffalata, and that's a non-traditional as well. But
Sister's
one of-
muffalata. That doesn't sound good.
well, yeah,
Hey, what else do you expect at your mom's house?
right,
You know?
right. But again,
That's the idea, to get you to snicker.
it's along the lines of David comes in and makes them for us.
Right.
You know, kind of like Richard Tucker does the
Right.
tacos
Right.
for us. You know, that's why I said there's a path we're taking. You know, because you know as well as I do, your family being in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
Restaurant industry is expensive.
Expensive.
It can be expensive.
Yeah.
So we're trying to mitigate that cost, but get the best product to you.
Sure, and retain people in the place because they get hungry, you can eat.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got a couple minutes left here.
Okay.
I want to. Can we give me all the websites for whiskey and Reservoir?
Basically, all our we quit doing individual websites, so we have
Okay.
it.
That's
it's under-
smart.
It's under FunkyLime.net.
Okay.
All our concepts are linked right there.
FunkyLime.net.
FunkyLime.net.
I got. Give me a 1 minute.
Funky
Where the
for
fu-
Fort Worth, and then Lime is actually
Squeeze a lime.
Emil's last name spelt backwards. plus Lime, you're in the business we're in. So
Okay, I was. You know,
we like to
how'd
use the
you-
Emil part just to
how'd-
make fun of it.
How'd you
so.
know I was fixing to ask you that? I was just fixing to
Oh,
ask
was
you.
it really?
Yeah. I told me something about Funky Lime, and there had to be a story.
Yeah.
Funky Fort Worth. All right. Guys, man, I really appreciate y'all coming
Thank
in.
you for having us.
And you know,
Absolutely.
I love all the concepts.
Absolutely.
So if no one's been to Whiskey Garden, Reservoir, and Yo Mom's house.
Your mom's house.
Your mom's house.
Your mom's house.
I like to say your mama's. And then Reservoir, it's a star, right?
Toyota Music Factory.
Toyota Music Factory. Yeah, I get
in
confused.
Los Colinas or Irving.
Las Colinas. Y'all need to check them out. Food, you can go there for lunch, whatever. That's good. And again, this week, if you're going to go to, if you want to do something tomorrow, Saturday, we got general admission left for the brunch. The morning after brunch at Farmers Market starts at 11, goes 11 to 3. but you don't want to come at 2. You want to be there at 11. I'll guarantee you.
Breakfast gets cold.
Yeah, and we're releasing our best burgers in North Texas Sunday morning. It posts at 9 o'clock. We spent all year eating hamburgers all over North Texas, 2,000 miles.
Nice.
189 hamburgers, 189 joints, 200 and something hamburgers we tried.
That's
all
insane.
year.
Must be nice.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some places we'd have to order 2 or 3 because we're trying to find the best one. So, but it releases. It's going to be really neat. They go all the way from Jacksboro all the way to Paris, and it was last year. It reached 1.4 million people. We had 590,000 engagements on it.
That's great, man. That's
So
awesome.
I'm excited about this year because we've been on TV so much now. It's going to be a lot bigger.
That's awesome.
Good.
That's huge.
Good. Great.
Yeah. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, cheers.
Thanks, Trey. Cheers.
I'm Trey Chapman, publisher of Trey'sChowdown.com. I'm passionate about finding the best food, drinks, and chefs to sharing it all with you. I should know I have over 5 decades of food experience. Find me on any podcast platform, Facebook Live, or just Google me. Now you can watch and listen to all my great finds every week on my live TV and radio podcast at Trey's Chowdown Live.